Hello kids, in the previous video we have seen how the various lines of defense generally seen in our body and the immunology and concept of immune system. Today we are going to see one more interesting concept, that is the types of immunity. Let us glance has about let us have glance about the types of immune system. What are the various types of immune system and how this immune system was classified? Let us see each and every point. If you want to protect yourselves from viral infections or bacterial infections, protozoan infections or fungal infections, you need to have some specific line of defense, that is third line of defense. The most appropriate and the most fascinating and majestic, important and very precious line of defense system is the third line of defense system. Now, let us see about the third line of defense system. Based upon the nature of response or immune response, the immune system classified into two types. I am repeating once again, no need to repeat it once again. Now, based upon the response nature, the immune system classified into two types. First one is innate type of immunity and the second one is acquired immunity. Now, these two immunities plays an important role in our body to protect ourselves from those pathogens or microbes. Now, here let us see the inborn resistance of the disease, which is known as the innate immunity. So the innate type of immunity we are receiving from our father or mother through the nucleus or chromosomes. So innate type of immunity, which is one of the important immunity, because we are getting this kind of immunity from our parents like mother or father. So that's why innate type of immunity is considered as the most appropriate and inborn type of immunity. Now, let us learn few points about the innate type of immunity. Here, the process the process of innate type of immunity by all living organisms is called innate immunity. So, how this innate immunity occurring in our body? Let us see. It is a non-specific immunity. Do you know that? It is a non-specific immunity towards some pathogens and could not depend upon the prior contact with the infected person or microorganisms. So the innate type of immunity, it is executed by the different barriers. There are some factors which influences this innate type of immunity. These factors are called as barriers. There are different types of barriers which influences innate type of immunity. What are the four different types of barriers which influences this type of immunity? First one, physical barrier. Second one, physiological barrier. Third one, cytokine. Fourth one, the cellular barriers. Like this, there are four different types of barriers are seen in the inborn immunity or innate type of immunity. So, once again, I am repeating, the innate type of immunity is inborn immunity through which we are receiving from our mother. So, mother shares all kind of immune cells to ourselves while we were in the mother womb. So, while we were developing in the mother womb at our mother womb during the fetal stage, at that time, mother shares all kind of immunity related cells, natural killing cells and macrophages through his blood to ourselves. So when we receive these kind of immune cells through or from our mother blood, immediately the immunity develops in our body and simultaneously day by day we are going to grow in the mother womb. So that is why it is called as innate immunity or inborn immunity. Now, a physical barrier, that is a first barrier which is involved in the innate type of immunity or inborn immunity. What is the physical barrier? Already in the previous classes we have seen skin as a physical barrier, skin as a physical barrier, and mucus as a physical barrier, and basically these two are considered as the physical barriers. How skin act as a physical barrier? You want to know? Let us see. Skin act as a physical barrier by preventing the microbes, or by preventing, or by stopping the microbes. How, what do you mean, and what it means? Let us see. The physical barrier, nothing but skin, which can prevent the entry of microbes into our bloodstream. So by stopping like this, the skin act as a the physical barrier. And one more thing, and skin contains highly active sweat glands that produces the sweat, right? This sweat contains an enzyme called lysozyme. This lysozyme can react with microbes and their cell walls or and their cell membranes, and they can neutralizes the cell walls of or cell membranes of pathogens. So even the mucus contains lysosome, even the tears contains lysosome. So tears are also act as the physical barriers, which are helping in the trapping and killing the microbes entering in our which are entering in our body. Now let me say one more point. If you see the skin and the mucous membrane present in the entire digestive canal or gastrointestinal tract and also in the respiratory tract. In the walls of entire digestive tract and respiratory tract and the circulatory system, this kind of membrane called the mucous membrane is present. If you want to know how this mucous membrane looks like, take your finger, keep it on your internal cheek. You will get a smoothie layer there. Here exactly. That smoothie layer or smooth surface layer which is there in the internal cheek called as the mucous membrane. Like this, the mucous membrane is present in the entire gastrointestinal tract, which includes esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and respiratory tract includes the trachea, left lung, right lung, bronchi, bronchioles. All of these are surrounded by the mucous layer that secretes the mucous membrane. Mucus is secreted by mucous glands. Mucous glands are present in this respiratory or digestive tracts. Now, let us see a few more interesting points about the second type of barriers in the innate type of immunity, that is physiological barrier. What are physiological barriers? Physiological, physical, physiological. Physical is different, physiological is different. Physiological barriers, which are nothing but the internal, we can call them as a functional or internal. In the stomach, as we know very well, the highly concentrated HCl is present. And you may get doubt, sir, if there is a highly concentrated HCl in the stomach, how the stomach is able to protect it by this harmful highly concentrated HCl? Do you know what is the pH of HCl that is present in our stomach? The pH of HCl in the stomach, it is about 1.5 to 2.5. That is highly acidic. How much it is highly acidic? So take a small amount of HCl, dip your finger in this. What will happen? If you dip your finger in that highly concentrated HCl, your finger may dissolve in that concentrated HCl, that much concentration. So HCl with high concentration, and now my question is, if this much of concentration HCl is present in the stomach, why the walls of stomach is not burning? Because the walls of stomach is a bag-like structure, right? And the stomach generally looks like this. If you see the walls of stomach contains millions of mucous glands. These millions of mucous glands secretes the mucus, thick layer of mucus. If this thick layer of mucus is present in the walls of stomach, so the mucus can neutralize the action of HCl in the stomach. Let me say something. If you are not taking lunch or breakfast in a particular time or in a particular day, what will happen? You may get some acidity in the stomach, right? You may some burning feeling. What is the reason for that burning feeling? It's because of this kind of acids called hydrochloric acids. Now, the stomach contains this highly concentrated HCl, which can act as a physiological barrier that can prevent entry of germs, which means what I'm trying to say. The stomach contains HCl can kill all kind of germs, whatever present in the food or inhaled food items. Whenever this inhaled food enters into the stomach, immediately the digestion process starts in the stomach. During this digestion process, if any dust particles or germs or microbes present in this food, immediately they are removed, neutralized, killed, phagocytosis or phagocytosized by this germs or the HCl. So that's why HCl as a physiological barrier. Now let me say one more point. One more important physiological barrier is the saliva. Now how saliva act as a physiological barrier? Who secretes the saliva? What are the structures which can produce the saliva? There are three pairs of salivary glands are present in the buccal cavity which produces this saliva. Now, the saliva in the mouth, even tears of our tear glands can produce some enzymes which can neutralize microbial action and act as a physiological barrier. Saliva contains some inorganic ions and some enzymes. Even lysozyme is present in the saliva which can act upon this germs and neutralize them during our inhalation or mastication of the food in the mouth. Now, even if we take the tears which are produced by the tear glands, lacrimal glands are present in the eyes, as we know very well. Scientific name of tear glands is lacrimal gland. These lacrimal glands able to produce tear or fluid which contains lysozyme. This lysozyme can kill the germs or microbes which are present in them. So that is why tears are also act as a physiological barrier. Let me say few more important points about third type of physiological barrier, that are cellular barriers. What are the various types of cellular barriers that are involved in the innate immunity generally? Here, certain types of cells like polymorphonuclear leukocytes, point number one. Second one, monocytes or natural killing cells in the blood, as well as macrophages, third one, in the tissues, and fourth one, natural killer cells which can undergo for phagocytosis. So these three or four different types of cells undergoes for the cellular line of defense in our body, which are acting as a cellular barriers in the innate immunity. So like nuclear leukocytes. What are polymorphonuclear or leukocytes? That are nothing but the important cells called neutrophils. Neutrophils are considered as we know that they are microscopic policemen of the body. The neutrophils contains multi-lobed nucleus with granules. All these points we have discussed in the previous sessions. Now, natural killer cells, that are nothing but NK cells, are also present in the blood, and macrophages in the tissues. Very important point for the examination point of view. Macrophages. The macrophages are also present in the tissues, acting as the cellular barrier for defense line of system. Now, here if you see last type of cells or structures which are involved in the innate immunity is the cytokine. The cytokine barrier, cytokinin is different. Cytokine is different. Cytokine is an immune cell Cytokinin is nothing but it is a plant hormone. Now we are talking about the immune cells, not hormones. Cytokine barriers are the cytokines such as interferons. We can call them as cytokine interferons. Now, what are interferons? These interferons here protects the non-infected cells. If suppose some part of the tissue was infected with microbes, remaining part of the non-infected tissue can be protected by these cells called the cytokine interferon cells. The cytokine interferon cells. See, like this, here the body has four different types of physiological barriers in the innate type of immunity. Now, as I said in the earlierly in the previous slides, saliva, tears, and sweat contains lysozyme that can digest the bacterial cell wall or that can prevent the entry of microbes in our body. Clear, students? I hope so. Everybody enjoyed the session. Stay tuned. We'll meet in the next session once again. Have a nice day. Thank you.